So I got this nice star field here, and it looks okay, but I've noticed that whenever it restarts, it looks kind of like an explosion. Actually, kind of something fireworks. And I was thinking I could use this for creating a firework effect. But rather than starting in the middle, I wanted to start every time I click on the screen, and it should explode wherever I click. So I'll start by creating a function here. Function that create fireworks at a given position x and y, and that's where it should take place. To call that, I want here to, in the stage, whenever I click it, I want to add a listener, stage add event listener, and I can't use the click event on the stage. I can only use that on the children in the stage. So rather I need the stage mouse down event, and I can use that to call the create fireworks. But no, I can't call the create fireworks directly, because this only gives me an event and I need to find x and y. So let's call it stage clicked. And we put that function here. Function stage clicked received an event, and that event has the e.stage x and stage y. So let's use them for create fireworks. E stage x and e.stage y. Let's just try and console log create fireworks at x, comma, y. Run that, and oh, the console. We should never close the console. I click it. Yeah, we get different values. That's nice. So now, here we should create the firework. What we used to do up here, center X and so on. So let's take all of this code, remove it, and put it here. And not use the center X and center Y, but just the X and the Y. Nothing happens right now. If I click somewhere, we got fireworks, and we got fireworks, and we got fireworks. And it never ever stops. Also, it's called snowflakes, but yeah, one thing at a time. Making the snowflakes or stars or firework particles, whatever they might be called right now, making them stop when is quite simple actually, because here we said if they leave the canvas, then we restart them. But if we just say no, we don't want to restart them, we want to destroy them. Call a destroy function, destroy method. We haven't created it yet, but let's make one. And destroy should remove this from the stage, this snowflake, and it should also remove it from the snowflakes array. So start with stage, remove child, this, and then take a look at the snowflakes array, and we want to splice it from the index of this one, and that would be finding the index, like index of this one, and remove one snowflake from the array. That should then destroy any snowflakes when they leave the stage. Let's see what happens. Click somewhere, and they disappear. And they still live. They keep, those that move very, very slowly, they just keep moving and moving and moving. And I'm thinking that in actual fireworks, you have kind of a decay, that it burns for a while and then it stops. And I think we could simulate that burning by changing the alpha value. And since alpha is between 0 and 1, maybe if we just subtract 0.1 every single time. Let's try and see what happens. So say this alpha subtract 0.1 every single time. Click one. That was a bit fast. 0.01 maybe. Yeah, it fades out. But everything fades the same speed. Maybe some of the particles should level up a little longer than others. So let's create a random fade out value. Let's say this fade out. Let's be random value between 0.01 and I don't know, 0.03. Let's see what happens. And then this alpha, we subtract not 0.01, but this fade out. And they live in all sorts of different times. Yeah, that's kind of nice. Also, maybe we wanted to destroy it not when it has left the stage, but when alpha is less than 0. So if this alpha is less than 0, then we destroy the snowflake firework particle. Call it what you want. You can't see anything different, but I think that should work. There's another problem. All the particles move in a straight line. Those that go down and those that go up are moving exactly the same, but real fireworks is affected a bit by gravity. So those that move up would move slightly curvy down. And maybe we could use that same principle we used to, but just adding a bit of gravity to the y. So this y plus equal some gravity. And let's make a constant up here. Say gravity should be, I don't know, 3. Just start with something. And then we push. Ooh. Yeah, they fall down maybe a little too much. What if it's 0.3? Is that better? No, it's not. Let's say 2. Yeah, they kind of have a downwards trajectory, every single one. They also, another thing, they move the same speed, all of them. They should slow down. It's an explosion that have immense speed at the beginning and then it gets slower and slower and slower. So they would kind of have a bit of friction. So let's also create a friction constant. Say 0.95. And then here we change the speed gradually. This speed in x and y by multiplying that with the friction. So let's see how that changes things. Yeah, now we get a nice ball of fireworks that explodes and falls gently down. There is one problem though. All the firework has is kind of white going towards dark blue, and firework is usually much more colorful. And I would like it to be all sorts of different colors. Or well, not all sorts of colors. This one should be greenish, then bluish, and yellow, and then red, and maybe a bit different, kind of the same hue, but different lightnesses and brightnesses. So if I look here and I change the color, I can say white, but let's try here and set a greenish color. And if I then, so I can use these hexadecimal colors, but if I go to the HSL, I get something. The hue is a number. That's actually how many degrees we are on the color wheel, from 360 all the way back to 0, all the way around, and around 130, so we got the green one. And then we got the saturation, should be fully saturated, I think, all the way up. We could, yeah, we don't want darker colors, fully saturated. And then the brightness or lightness, as it's called, it shouldn't be too light, then it would be white. But if it's somewhere between, I'd say 50, yes, between 50 and 80, then we have a color. So any of up here, lightness from 50 to 60, and hue could be anything, and saturation would always be 100%. So let's just create this color, then we got, now we need to save. Then we got a nice green one. So, but these two numbers we would like to create randomly, not completely random, because let's try and make it completely random, see what happens. Let hue be a random number between 0 and 360, and let light be a random number, not a random number between, what was it, 50 and 80. And then we're going to put them in here, the hue and the light. And now we got very colorful, almost too colorful. We would like all of the particles to be kind of the same hue, or at least close to each other. So we need a base hue for each of these. And we need that when we create the fireworks. So let's select the base hue. Let base hue be a random number between 0 and 360. And then whenever we create a snowflake, we give it an X coordinate, a Y coordinate, and let's also give it the base hue. And let's also give it the base hue, then receive it in the constructor and calculate a random hue, not from 0 to 360, but from the base hue minus 20 to the base hue plus 20. So we got 40 degrees centered around the base hue. I think that would be nice. So let's see how that happened. And click here. And there are all sorts of different colors. They're kind of close. They're yellow, greenish, yellowish. Maybe it's a bit much with this base hue. Minus 10, plus 10. Now they're a bit closer. Still colorful, but kind of close. Then we got the dark blue, and it should really be black. Shouldn't it be black? Let's make it all black. Let's make it a dark night black. Yeah. And also here when we fade, not to dark blue, but to black. And as a final touch, let's call it, let's make a random number every single time. So number of snowflakes should be random. I don't know how many should we create each time, between say 30 and 80. And then remove it here. You know what? I'm not going to call it snowflakes anymore. I'm going to rename it number of particles. And I'm not going to call it snowflake anymore. I'm going to call it a particle. And I think also here, snowflakes. Snowflakes. Don't call it snowflakes. Let's call it particles. Do we have any other reference? Yeah, this one should also change to particle. Now I think we're kind of clear of our old snowflake. No, there's one. Also rename that a particle. Now it seems much more fireworksy. So, Happy New Year, everyone.